Welcome aboard, folks. We are very proud to share that your pilot is the most diverse pilot on record. She is a 3'2" transgender pansexual Native American man who identifies as a 6'tall Korean woman. Any volunteers to help reach the controls are welcome. You will want to buckle up as her epilepsy is often triggered by the flashing lights in the cockpit. Remember to keep a whisper volume level, as she may have to consult instructional videos as a refresher during the flight. Now, can we get a big cheer for diversity?
CNN would report that flight was mostly peaceful. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name's Luke here of WeAreChange.org. As of course today, there's a lot of absolutely crazy and wild news to get into today, especially when it comes to the Davos elites and the craziness that just unfolded in Iowa that, of course, has a lot of very severe implications. We're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more with all the deals being made by the Bilderberg members and ruling elites that, of course, are deciding your future for you in a not convenient way. We're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing, you can get it on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. And the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast is the new commercial for Mark Cuban's new airline. No, I'm joking. It's an amazing satirical meme video made by the very talented A. Poke Toes. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but this person created absolute meme magic. They deserve you following them. Check them out. And of course, we will be linking them down in the description below so you could, of course, subscribe to their amazing, absolutely hilarious work that deserves you to follow them. Seriously, there's so much absurdity in our modern day society and so many few comedians with the balls to actually address it. So shouts out to the real people out there who are willing to make you laugh, because otherwise you would be crying. This, as the political situation in the United States just got a little bit more clearer, especially after last night's Iowa caucus, where Donald Trump was the clear victor, to the point where now even Joe Biden is calling him the front runner and announcing that the Republican GOP already has their man, and it's going to be Donald Trump versus Joe Biden, a remake of the 2020 presidential elections that now even the president of Russia is starting to question, as of course Vladimir Putin just came out and made a very interesting statement detailing how the previous election in the United States was, quote, done through falsified ways through postal voting. All of this is happening as the lead GOP frontrunner is still facing a lot of very serious charges, still might get 750 years in jail for the alleged misgressions he had against the state because of documents and reporting. As, of course, it's fair to say that the prosecution of the former president of the United States has absolutely allowed him to be where he is at right now. And even though he was deplatformed from many top social media networks, he is defiantly now more popular than ever. As in last night's Iowa caucus, he got over 56% of the vote. Vivek Ramaswamy got 7.7%, which afterwards made him drop out of the Republican primary and endorse Donald Trump, whose victory is massive here, as highlighted by Glenn Greenwald, that put a lot of things into perspective by saying, quote, the massive and historic size of Trump's victory should lead to some self-reflection about what caused the complete collapse of faith in the legitimacy of the U.S. institutions of authority and justice, whereby votes so easily disregard 4 felony cases as irrelevant, if not an asset. And I would say they have definitely been an asset, which is very telling, as the support for Donald Trump is a representation of support for the people who have lost any kind of respect or legitimacy for our institutions that are currently in power, highlighting a very divided nation and potential for a lot of upheavals and troubles this 2024, as the divide in America is becoming more apparent, and no matter who the establishment tries to prop up. Individuals like, of course, Nikki Haley, who have all the BlackRock and State Street money, are, of course, failing to make a dent in what the American people clearly want, and that, of course, is Donald J. Trump. What happened to Ron DeSantis was also very telling, as he put a lot of eggs in the basket that was Iowa. He visited every county. His super PAC spent tens of millions of dollars. When I was there, it was literally advertisement after advertisement promoting Ron DeSantis. He sent his entire staff from Tallahassee to Iowa. He had a pretty solid, good ground game. He was supported by a very popular governor there and key conservative media and Christian figures. And despite all of that, still overwhelmingly lost to the former president of the United States. Now, when will Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley drop out? Well, that's something that, of course, we're going to be paying close attention to, with the next primary being in New Hampshire next week. This says, of course, I am still haggard, still exhausted, and still cold from Iowa because it was freezing there. As, of course, I have some personal stories that I will be sharing behind the scenes about my trip to Iowa recently on LukeUnfilteredDotCom. If you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? Signing up, it's quick, it's easy, it's simple, and we have a very special report available to you right after this broadcast, all on LukeUnfiltered.com. And surprisingly, even though there's a whole bunch of sick people all around me, particularly Seamus Coughlin, even though I was working nonstop, even though I had poor sleep, even though I had poor diet, the food there was just absolutely atrocious, I still was able to remain healthy, even though I'm tired because I didn't sleep tonight. But I feel great. And I think one of the reasons I feel great was because I started to take my health seriously, and one way that I started to do that is, of course, by supplementing. Online personalities like Joe Rogan believe supplementing is essential, and so do I. Do your blood tests, find out what's going on in your system, optimize it, and when you do, check out WeAreChangeDotShop, as of course I believe we have some of the best supplements on the market that personally have helped me a lot, could maybe personally help you as well. Start your own independent health journey right now by going to WeAreChange.shop and checking out the amazing stuff that we have available to you that really makes the biggest difference. One of my favorite things to take once a year, and I save this once a year for me personally, even though some individuals take it year round, I decided to, of course, just take it to optimize myself during a key moment of stress, when I need to normalize my hormones, when I want to optimize my testosterone. And then, of course, I go for the chill pill on TakeTheChillPill.com. That, of course, is ashwagandha with black pepper. Brian Johnson, a man who's spending millions of dollars on optimizing his health, takes it every day. Some health professionals say that you should only take it for 3 months. Some say 1 month. I just do 1 month once a year to really just be ready for anything and everything. And truly, the chill pill has been a major game changer for me. It could be for you. Start your own research. Do your own homework on TakeTheChillPill.com. As, of course, there are a lot of incredible benefits, especially when it comes to anxiety, especially when it comes to stress, especially when it comes to boosting cognitive function, that ashwagandha absolutely thrives. And I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for ashwagandha. So check that out and all the amazing supplements that we have available to you on WeAreChange.shop. That also goes towards supporting and growing this independent media organization, as, of course, the ruling elites don't take any time off, as many prominent Bilderberg members at Davos are now calling for the creation of a, quote, new world order. All of this as this year's elitist confab in the Swiss Alps also has a very surprising guest, and that, of course, is Javier Milei, the new president of Argentina that represents the larger principles of libertarianism and anarchy, that will actually be making a speech that, of course, we will be paying very close attention to, as he announced that he is planning to, quote, plant the ideas of freedom in a forum that is contaminated by a 2030 socialist agenda. This, as we are waiting patiently to hear what he has to say, as many people have been surprised by his visit, as, of course, many political leaders use Davos as a way to secure their sphere of influence and also, more importantly, a lot of money from the ruling elite for their own personal causes, as, of course, another major headliner at Davos is Volodymyr Zelensky, that announced that he is meeting with some very high-profile individuals, including, of course, the U.S. Secretary of State. This, as, of course, just a few days ago, Zelensky asked Switzerland to participate in high-level peace talks that would, of course, involve China. Something, of course, that probably angered the United States, that has essentially been pushing and financing the larger proxy conflict between the East and the West that they're mainly using Ukraine for. Zelensky's speech at the World Economic Forum addressed the possibility of a third world war and potential negotiations with Vladimir Putin and Russia. This as the situation for the Ukrainians doesn't look that advantageous for them, as of course they are running out of men and are dealing with a very difficult situation, lacking manpower and a lot of resources that they usually are dependent on from the outside world. This, as already a lot of foreign mercenaries have been fighting on the side of Ukraine, and with Ukraine being utterly destroyed by this potential conflict, he of course is meeting with some really powerful power brokers like JP Morgan and Chase, as he's asking for more money, more economic relief that of course JP Morgan will be taking with their own pound of flesh. And with these meetings of very high profile financiers and banksters, you could bet your bottom dollar that, of course, that money doesn't come very freely. Now, will Zelensky's efforts be fruitful here? Well, it depends at what cost. What will the Ukrainian people have to give up for more money to finance this larger war, to fill up the coffers of the military-industrial complex that literally destroyed an entire generation of young Ukrainians that they will never get back? This as the world is in a very precarious situation, as many people fear a larger global conflict could expand at any moment, at any time, not just in Ukraine, but of course the Middle East, but of course the South China Sea, as a lot of the countries are on edge, as military warfare could be carried out in many forms, including, of course, with the use of artificial intelligence, with the use of attacks on infrastructure, as there are a lot of threats, specifically technocratic ones, that we could not even see coming. As the world is changing very fast, then Davos is trying to, of course, adapt, understand it, and probably weaponize it against everyone else. As one of the top things that they're discussing at Davos is now Disease X, that they probably are already working on in the laboratory, and, quote, fighting disinformation, aka censoring people from being able to talk to each other and find out what's really going on in this world. And those are the public meetings. Those aren't even the secret meetings that they're having right now at Davos. What do you think they're really discussing there? What's their next plan? What's their next end game? What deals are being made here? Well, let me know down in the comment section below. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys actively sharing and going to LukeUnfilteredDotCom for just $8 a month and watching the videos that we have available to you just for members right after this broadcast. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on WeAreChange.org.